I'm Steve, and this is Tim, and this is the first ever Erif Media news update, brought to you by erifmedia.com. erifmedia.com. To start off today, we have an article out of the CBC. Tim Hortons, Starbucks, recycling claims may be garbage. A CBC Marketplace investigation reveals that many paper cups collected by some Toronto Starbucks and Tim Hortons for recycling are sent to landfill, not to a recycling plant as many may believe. In 2010, Canadians used an estimated 1.5 billion disposable coffee cups, equivalent to more than 500,000 trees. To test what really happens to recycling materials collected by stores, Marketplace dropped cups with tracking devices into store recycling bins at 14 Tim Hortons and 14 Starbucks locations in Toronto. Producers from the program returned at night to look for them. Marketplace staff recovered 7 cups from each chain, all of which were in bins for garbage pickup, alongside many other recycling materials. The other cups could not be found. As troubling of news as that is, Tim, I am more concerned with the fact that they placed 28 tracking devices into 28 cups and could only find 14 cups when they returned. What happened to the other 14 cups? What happened to the other tracking devices? How does one lose a tracking device?
I do not know, Steve. Moving on. Robots. This is from wired.co.uk. The South Korea government has handed Samsung a multi-million-dollar investment to develop factory robots that can carry out complex tasks. The plan, the minister said, was for South Korea robots to pick up the work normally done by low-wage Chinese workers.
Well, that's terrible news. We should, of course, be striving to eliminate as many human jobs as possible to make way for our robot overlords. Another article out of the CBC, Aritzia apologizes to customer who had shockingly racist experience. Samantha Grant went to buy a winter coat at a downtown store last week, only to return empty-handed and stung by a racist remark she says an employee directed at her. The Toronto woman went to the Queen West location of Vancouver-based Aritzia last Thursday and asked an employee for assistance after she could not find her size on the rack. While she was looking, I overheard her speaking to another employee that she didn't know why she was helping me. I probably wouldn't be able to afford the coat because I was black, Grant told Metro Morning. Grant says she was stunned by the remark and immediately left the store. In a statement to CBC News, Aritzia said Grant's experience was unacceptable, and that they are conducting one-on-one meetings with staff at its Queen West store and a comprehensive review of their policies. Grant says sensitivity training or workshops would be beneficial so staff really know how to appropriately interact with customers. As a business owner, if your staff require sensitivity training to know that they shouldn't be racist dicks to customers, you might want to reconsider your hiring strategy. Wouldn't you say, Tim?
I guess.
You guess? Racism isn't cool, Tim. What do you got there?
Witch wins protective order against warlock in Salem court.
Riveting.
A judge granted a protective order against a warlock on Wednesdays, spelling relief for the Salem witch who accused him of harassment. She had accused self-proclaimed warlock Christian Day of harassing her over the phone on social media over the past 3 years. They were in a business relationship, but the relationship fell apart when the witch revealed plans to start her own witchcraft shop nearby. This is a business dispute gone wrong.
I really enjoy that the warlock's name is Christian Day. Christian Day. I'd like to add, Tim, if you are in a dispute with a witch or a warlock, and the biggest concern you have is harassment over social media, you might be getting off pretty easy. To help me demonstrate that point, let's look at this article. This was out of the Toronto Sun. Texas woman arrested for blood ritual kidnapping. A Texas woman who believed that the girlfriend of her dead brother played a role in his demise is suspected of kidnapping, drugging, and performing a blood ritual on her, authorities said on Wednesday. Mercedes Salazar, 32, has been arrested on suspicion of holding the girlfriend, who has not been identified, hostage for 3 days in a San Antonio home, binding her to a chair with zip ties, drugging her with what is believed to be heroin, and subjecting her to a type of witchcraft where blood is drawn. The victim, 25, was rescued when deputies forced their way into the home and found her tied to a chair and being threatened with a knife by another woman who has also been charged in the case. It's a little more what I would expect out of a witch. And another interesting article, right in line with the last, and this is out of the Associated Press, from Gulfport, Mississippi. Woman accused of cutting pacemaker out of dead boyfriend's chest and putting body in trash can. The Sun Herald reports that 63-year-old Christy Lee Zarella had a preliminary hearing Wednesday on the charges of tampering with evidence, failure to report a death, and desecration of a corpse. Quoting a police affidavit, the newspaper reports that Zarella told investigators Miller died of natural causes, and she panicked and put his body in a trash can. Interesting in this article is that she's being charged with tampering of evidence, failure to report a death, and desecration of a corpse. Which, interestingly, means she didn't kill him, she just removed his pacemaker after he was already dead and then stuffed him in a garbage can. I wonder if there was a tracking device on him to see where he ended up.
CBC News. Ready or not? Tesla Autopilot means self-driving cars are already on Canadian roads. The move towards driverless vehicles is accelerated with technology such as Tesla's new Autopilot. And that means there are already self-driving cars on Canadian highways.
More bad news. I don't really trust the self-driving cars. Though I don't trust most driving humans, so I guess it's a toss-up. This article, out of the Washington Post, investigates the self-driving car phenomenon by asking, what if your self-driving car decides one death is better than two, and the one is you? Are we comfortable with an algorithm making those decisions for us? In a new study, researchers from MIT, the University of Oregon, and the Toulouse School of Economics went ahead and got some answers. At the end of the day, it turns out that most people are uncomfortable buying a car that could kill them if it needed to. The past year has seen a surge in studies, surveys, and think pieces on the kinds of moral calculations we might assign to self-driving cars. For example, should people be able to choose a morality setting on their self-driving car before getting in? I think that is a fantastic idea. You should have a little knob in your car, and you can decide how you feel that day and whether you'll set it to kill or to not kill.
The Canadian press. Canadian dads are more likely to kill their kids than moms, according to an extensive new study published by the Journal of Child Abuse and Neglect. Overall, 57% of the accused child killers were men, although the ratio jumps to 90% for stepfathers.
So, I guess look out for Canadian stepfathers. Hi, Dad. There's another interesting article out of the New York Post. There's a feminist civil war brewing over Caitlyn Jenner. Germaine Greer, the 76-year-old author of The Female Eunuch, is making waves by lambasting the idea that Caitlyn Jenner may be honored by Glamour magazine as Woman of the Year. Jenner isn't a woman, says Greer. He's just attention-starved and seeking to steal the limelight from the women in the Kardashian family. He hasn't actually had to endure what feminists depict as the true horrors of womanhood, such as being cursed with what Greer delicately characterizes as, and these are her words, not mine, a big, hairy, smelly vagina. What do you think about that, Tim? Should Caitlyn Jenner be Woman of the Year?
No comment.
And some other quick headlines for you. This from the Washington Times. The Energy Department smashes pumpkins for causing climate change. That's right, folks. Plants are causing climate change. This from the Daily Mail UK. The church is making life hell for millions of gay Catholics, even though the clergy is full of homosexuals. Again, not my words. This from newsbusters.org. ABC dumps on Trump. ABC's Good Morning America mocked Donald Trump as having electile dysfunction and being in need of pulling Viagra. That's the state of American politics. And something to look out for this holiday season. This from the McClatchydC.com. Slightly unprepared for that. Globally, 2 out of 3 under 50 have oral herpes. So, practice safe kissing, folks. Well, that's all for us here at Erif Media News. Tune in again and get more news from Erif Media. Erif Media. Back to you, Tim.
Good night, Steve.
Good night. It's fucking 4:30.